fellow woodworkers and makers of great things. Welcome back to my shop. If you're like me, you've got a bunch of batteries. These days with cordless power tools, you know, as you start building a collection, you wind up with all different types and shapes. And I've got quite a few. I had a lot more. I recently got rid of a couple. So my goal now is to get down to two platforms, and that's going to be Festool and Milwaukee, and try to get everything along those lines. Those two brands handle my woodworking and my mechanic needs pretty well, and while neither has necessarily the best tools in every category, I'm just tired of having all these chargers and all these cords and all these batteries you know, all over the place. So what I'm planning to do today is take my Milwaukee batteries and chargers and organize them into a you know, a nice little work center where everything could be stored and kept in a very minimal footprint. So what we'll do is design, measure, and build a battery storage unit with a charger for the Milwaukees. I'll take you through the whole process. You know, I know some folks like to move quick. I tend to show all the detail. Oh well, if you get bored along the way and it's something you're interested in, I will be putting together a measured drawing that I'll show at the end. So if you want to screen capture that, if you already know some of these basic techniques that I'm going to be using, and then of course you can adjust what I'm doing to your battery needs. So if you have more or less Milwaukee batteries than I do, or if you want to, you know, design something for a different battery platform, hopefully some of the things I'm going to show you today on how to measure and lay out and plan for this, but not hopefully, it is transferable to any type of a battery system that you want to do. So I hope you enjoy this video. Let's get going with it. And remember, at the very end, I'm going to put up some measured drawings that you can, you know, screen capture if you want to get any of the dimensions. Well, let's get to it. Okay, so here's what my plan is. Here's what I've worked out. I want to have storage for 1, 2, 3, and 4, which I don't have yet, M18 batteries, and 1, 2, 3, 4 M12 batteries, and I want the charger right here. This is a dual charger. This will charge the M18s here and the M12s here. So this whole thing will be wall mounted, no footprint at all on a bench top or anything like that. And to give you a little clarity, I've roughly sketched it out. Yeah, there is a rough drawing of what this will look like when I'm done. Very simple construction, no high-end woodworking here, but the charger will mount to this back here, all 1/2-inch plywood, by the way, and then you've got a compartment too high for M18s and a compartment too high for M12s. And simple as that. This is going to mount right next to an outlet, so I got no cords dangling anywhere. Should work out pretty good. So again, just to give you a picture of the whole Megillah here. So we'll get all our batteries organized. We'll get our charger organized, and no footprint, no countertop taken up. No wondering where the batteries are. No wondering which ones are charged, which ones are not. If it's on a shelf, it's charged. If it's not, it's either in the charger or in a tool. So here's the space where this wall unit is going to go. It's going to fit right in here someplace. And again, up off the bench, give me some room. And I am somewhat limited, of course. I have what looks like 18 3/4 here, and exactly 12 inches here. So we got to keep this thing 18 by, you know, whatever height we need. I don't think we need 12, but we got to keep it in that space. Well, we're going to be, you know, fairly close to that 18 and a half inch width of this unit that I showed you just a minute ago. So we're going to have to be careful and make sure we can get this done the way I want it. Let's see if it works. Whenever I have to, you know, measure something like this for irregular objects and want to get real precise, your best friend are setup blocks. I use setup blocks for so many things. This is one of them. So for example, I need to know 2 batteries will be going in each of these cubby holes here, right? So what is the width that I need? Now remember, this drawing is just nominal. I don't have it exact. I have to figure out that part now. You take 2 setup blocks. You know, these are irregularly shaped objects. They round over on the corners. All right. I come here. And now I know I've got 6 1/4 inches between the widest portion of these 2 batteries. So I want to leave a little room, leave a 1/4 inch, let's make it 6 1/2. We may have to shave that in a little bit, but let's see how we make out. So 6 1/2 is going to be our width inside of these 2 partitions. On the smaller batteries, the fat part is kind of up top here, so we got to get them in this position. Let's get a setup block there. Let's get a setup block there. Okay, that's the maximum, that's the widest position. Hold those blocks right where they are. Get rid of the batteries. Let's see what we got. We got 3 3/4. So again, let's leave ourselves a 1/4 inch of space, and we know we need 4 inches here. The taller of the 2 are the M12s, believe it or not. All right, so when these are standing up in here and this is laying down in here, I'm going to have plenty of room if I measure for the taller battery. So let's get the taller of the 2 measurements. Likewise, setup blocks, 3 3/8. Let's go 3 5/8. We got a little room in height, so we're going to go 3 5/8. In this dimension. So I think that gives us everything we need. We know we got 1/2 here. We know we got 1/2 here. We know we got 1/2 here. Okay, so that's and I know I've got 6 inches over here. I need 6 inches to mount the charger. So if I take 6.0 here, I got 3 halves, so we'll go 1. Let's keep this in eighths, right? Do we have? No, we don't have any crazy measurements. So 6.0, 1.5 for the 3 1/2 inches, 1.5, 6.5 for this guy, and 4 for this guy. So we've got 0, carry 1, 11, 12, 18. All right, so we're good on the width. On the height, we've got a 1/2 inch here. All right, we got a 1/2 inch here. Got a 1/2 inch here. And so we've got eighths here. So I'm going to make 1, 2, 3. That's 1.5 inches. 1 4/8. I've got 3 5/8, and then I'll have another 3 5/8 up here. So that gives me 10, 14 eighths. So that's plus 7. 8 goes into 14, 1, so that goes to 8. And we got 6 eighths left over, or 3/4. Okay, so we need 8 3/4 this way, and we need 18 inches exactly this way. And for what it's worth, that's how I do it. I don't know if there are better or worse ways, but you know, when you're in a limited space and you want to have, you know, pretty precise measurements against things that are hard to measure, you know, with a ruler. Where do I eyeball it? You know, what's my, now just use the setup blocks. It's fatter here than it is up here. So you get the setup block to kiss on that fat spot. You get the setup block to kiss on that fat spot. And now you know where you are. And that's the maximum width. So let's take those dimensions and go find some plywood. Oh, hang on. I need one more dimension, don't I? I need to know the depth of this piece. So let's get it here. Let's get a setup block here. Let's get a setup block here. And let's come across. So that is 4 5/8 inside. So this is 4 5/8 inside. All right. I'm going to transfer it here as well. All right, I may just make that, you know, 5 inches deep. I've got this space. I'll go double check. All right, let's get some 1/2-inch ply and see if we can build this thing. Well, we're going to need a piece for the back that is 18 by 8 3/4 of 1/2-inch ply, and I happen to have a scrap piece here that we'll get that from. So let's get this set. 18. We'll make that cut first. I'm not measuring, I trust my fence. Let's get the blade up. Let's get the dust collector on and we'll give this a cut. Okay, now let's rip this to 8 3/4. Gone ahead and transferred the layout lines directly onto the back of the piece to make sure that everything gets going in the right direction and comes together the way I want it. All right, I decided on this piece, the depth we saw 4 5/8 inside depth of this piece. Let's give ourselves an 1/8 and go in 4 3/4. I'll pick up a little more too because I'm going to front edge all this plywood when I'm done, and so we'll pick up another, I don't know, 3/16 or whatever I decide to rip that out. So we're going to need a bunch of 4 3/4 inch pieces to make up this framework to do this. So I've got a nice piece of scrap right here. Every once in a while the scraps come in handy. So let's get this and a couple other pieces to 4 3/4, and then we'll start figuring out our crosscuts. Okay, it's time to start figuring out from those 4 3/4 inch pieces that I made how we're going to, you know, build up that frame. So let's start with these long pieces here. They're going to be 12 inches. So let me cut 2 pieces to 12 inches. And I'm not going to cut anything else yet because I'm going to use those 2 pieces to lay out the exact height of these 3. No sense measuring. If we don't have to, we'll get it as exact as we can. All right, so we got these 2 pieces at 4 3/4 by 12. One's going to wind up here, one's going to wind up here. We have to calculate the distance of these 3 vertical pieces now. So let's put these 2 up together. Put our setup block right there so we know that we're butted up exactly on that end. And let's measure. Need a ruler for that. Let's measure what we need to the end of this board now, because we're accounting for 2 of the pieces there. So we need 7 3/4 inches, a little strong, a hair strong. All right, we don't quite have 7. We're losing a little bit in the dimension of the plywood. So we're gonna set the saw to 7 3/4 plus not quite a 64th. That's the best way I can explain it. I just went to the table saw and cut these pieces to 7 3/4 strong. So if we did it right, that should butt up to the other edge of this board, and it does perfectly. So let's go ahead and lay everything out the way it's going to be. Piece doesn't want to lay down. And then one here. Dominoes. Okay, that's our layout for this box. And then we've got to now calculate these cross pieces. Okay, let's get a little glue on there. Let's get a little glue on this piece. Make sure I'm right now. Get some glue on this piece. Okay, so I've got some glue on both pieces. Let's get it back on our little setup here. Even everything up. Okay, so we got everything glued up. Let's get our nails. That one didn't make it through the manufacturing process. Oh, that nail is too narrow. I drilled those holes too big, kids. I'm gonna find a slightly larger nail for this side, and then what we'll do is we'll reduce that hole size on the next one, because really no need to use a nail this big. Okay, keep everything aligned. My vise isn't tight enough for that big old whopping nail. Ah. All right, let's get the other side of this top now. Get some glue on there. Get some glue on here. Because I'm not in the vise this time, I'm going to drill one hole at a time. Keep my alignment right. This thing can move a little bit as you go, especially since the glue's on it. And I've moved to a smaller drill bit. That will take the nail I want to use. Oops. Let's get that lined up. How I'm going to continue to nail up this piece, we will come back when I've got that done, because you don't need to see me driving all these nails. I've gone and nailed up the all the pieces, and now we're going to have to mount it to the back. So we're going to go just like that. Top, right, that's the right way. So we're going to take this and, should I screw it since it's against the wall? Yeah, I think I'm going to screw this one in. That's my plan. All right, let's get started. A little glue and some screws. Okay. Let me get some glue on this. Let's see what we got here. Get a pilot bit. I like this Milwaukee M12, by the way. It's got very good control and torque at low speeds. It's great for doing this. All right, let's get one here. I mean, likewise with this Festool, it's also, you know, I think it's that brushless stuff. I don't know. They're just better than other drills and grinders. Mostly Bosch and Makita in the past. So I can go to relatively low speed and still get good torque and control. Let's go to this side. I'm going to have to back this just a little bit to get everything to line up. Probably put a clamp on that to hold it. Will this Bessie reach? No, it will not. Gonna have to go with the classic Wetzler. Oh no! How about a nice Jorgensen? That'll do it. And what I'm doing here, I should bring the camera around for you guys. All I'm doing is bringing this box square to the top so that when I screw it, everything lines up. A hole and a screw. And a hole. And a screw. Ditto. some of this minor squeeze out. I know you can't see, but there's not much down there. And there we have it. All right, I've got a piece of 1/4-inch plywood ripped to the proper height. And now we just got to fit it between the grooves. And you would think I would measure this distance, but I'm not. What we're going to do is mark from our work. So I've got that right there. I'm going to mark this right here. And go to table saw and cut it right on that mark. I'll be right back. If anything, I'm going to be a little bit wide. That's what I want. I can always take more off, right? No need, I'm perfect. Okay, so I'm good there. Let's take my cutoff off the table saw. And do the same thing with this one. Again, if you miss, you want to miss long on this. Oh my, did I put a screw? I put a screw right in the dado. Guys, when you're putting your cabinets together, try not to do that. I've got a little piece of wood in there. I'm going to have to get out the chisel. When the screw came through, it obviously splintered into the dado. So I'm just cleaning it out with a chisel. And that went in. All right, we got it. It's still a little tight there. Dare I? Oh, there you go. All right, so we are now shelved up. And before we go any further, it'd probably be a good idea to make sure that this one is planned. And that I can get 2 5-amp hours in there. And 2 5-amp hours up there. And I can get my M12s up here. I can get 8 altogether. I doubt I'll ever have that many. But yeah, that's what we wanted. That's what we wanted. I found some thin stock over here. There's my scale. There we go. I guess it's 3/16, and it is 3/16 pine. So we're going to rip that to 1/2 inch, and we're going to edge band our box, cover up all that exposed plywood. Maybe I'll cut some little 1/4 inches too, but let's see about that. So we want to get this to 1/2 inch. Actually, we want to cheat it because of the imported plywood. That's pretty darn close. We'll cut it to 1/2 inch, and then we could always trim any overhang on the outside. All right, so let me rip some 1/2 inch strips out of this, and I'll be right back. All right, I've ripped some stock, some of that thin stock down to 1/2 inch, and we'll use that to wrap and edge band all this plywood. Just going to do it by eye, no rulers. We're going to cut it over here on my bench hook with a small crosscut saw. It's a dovetail saw, but the teeth are crosscut, and then we'll tack it in using a pin nailer. That still works. My finish nailer and brad nailers are done, but I still have a pin nailer, so we'll use that. And if we got to do any fine tuning to length, I've got a plane here, and we'll use this like a shooting board to get them close. So let's start with this piece. I've got some coloration difference, and I don't know if everybody's as geeky as me, but I think I'll put the light piece on the bottom, and then I'll put some of this mixed color on the top so it blends in, and then we'll work from there. All right, so let's get this one first. It's got a bad edge. That's got a good edge. So we'll leave it there. We'll find our pencil. I'll eyeball it right there. Get a small square. Trying to do so you guys can see it. A small square. Make a line. Take it over to the shooting board or the bench hook. And we'll just cut it right here. In a couple of passes. That should be good. It is. It's just a smidge long. So we'll get some glue on. Yeah, it would have been handy to have a nail gun for the other part. I think I'll do this part now. And I think I want to use some of that green change here. Call me crazy. Pencil, 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 where'd it go? Lost my pencil already. One cut and my pencil's missing. Let's cut it here first, and I'll mark it again. Since I'm letting this overhang just a hair on each side, I'm not too worried about square after all. I marked the first one with a square, but didn't really have to. Get a pretty good reference on this bench hook. Okay. I'll put that with the dark side up. Totally geeking out, thinking about wood grain on a functional piece like this, but I guess I can't help it. How's this piece? Too short. How's this piece? Just right. So this is the top. This piece is darker. This has some dark up here. We're going to go this way. And that's a good square edge right there. So we're going to mark this. A little bit long. Cut it on the bench hook. We should be a little bit long. And we are. a little bit. We're still considerably long. Get a little more depth out of this. Flex it. Or not. And there we are. Nice and snug. I'm going to try to nail this one. Let's see how I do. No planing needed. And we got it on the third try. We got one to fit. All right, let me see how much of this stuff I'm gonna need. 1, 2, and in case I screw up right here, we'll cut this off. I'm gonna go try to rip this to the about 1/4 inch of that plywood. I'll be right back. Same routine. Mark it, cut it, fit it. Look
snug. All right, let's do the other one while we're at it. We need to clean that end. We need to square that end. That's fine. We'll pencil up here, of course. So I get you over here. Idea what I'm doing. Let me get you back here. Might be better. I want you to see that what I'm doing here is to square the end of the piece, or to take a shaving or two off. I'm using my plane, and I'm just using that to square it off. When I'm cutting, here's the little tick mark I made, and I'm simply using my, so you can see that because of this line on the bench hook, I can keep a very straight square cut over a relatively short distance, so that works out pretty good. All right, let's see how we made out with that cut. Get you guys back where you belong. All right, I think all this needs is a little sanding. I think all that needs is a little sanding, and we'll be good to go. Let's get on with that. A little sanding, I think I'll give it a quick spray of acrylic polyurethane, just to keep the dirt and the smudges from sinking in. Let's figure out how we're going to mount this charger to our space here. Take a look at this. We are 6 inches wide, and the mounting holes are exactly at 3 inches. So we just have to center it. That seems pretty easy. We got to find some screws. So these are 6 3/4 inch pan head screws. So they should be able to go in there and securely fasten. I think they're too long though. What do we got left? Yeah, we still have 5/8 left, so that's too long. Here's an 8 by 5/8. Let's see what that looks like. That's kind of a washer head. Let's see if that's better or worse. Washer head's a little more secure. And the reveal is just under a 1/2 inch. So these are the ones, 8 by 5/8. Get rid of these other options, since we won't need them and don't want to be confused. Okay, now, I think there's going to be a cabinet right here. So I may be limited on my lift. So let's see if I have to mount this a little bit lower to make sure I can clear the cabinet above. And the answer is no. I've got plenty of room here. Even if the cabinet was right on this, I got plenty of room to get that one in. And I got plenty of room to get that one. So we can mount it right about there. Looks like a good spot. Little up from the bottom, but a little on the lower side. A little on the lower side. Let's see where that's going to be. Get a setup block, of course. And put the setup block there. That marks the highest point on the cabinet frame. So we want our screw to wind up. Oh boy, let's see how we're gonna get a good line on that. So we want our screw to be 5/8 below the highest point. Let's come here and give ourselves 5/8. Maybe get a line on that. The distance between these screws is exactly 4 inches. So the next screw should be 4 inches below this screw, right here. And we want to be let's go 3 1/16. This way we're not right up against this wall. If it vibrates, you don't want to be hearing all the time. So 3 1/16 there. Let's take that down to the other screw hole. Okay. So we want to get a screw here. And we want to get a screw here. And that should put us in a comfortable place. Famous last words. These are number 8 screws. I need a different driver. Here we go. Let's see how that works. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so right, little over, that's okay, but we got that little gap here, which I like. for cooling and for vibration. And what we want to do, I think, is we want to put a stop here. Hopefully you guys are still in frame. But we want to put a stop here so as I'm pulling batteries in and out, I'm not sliding this up off of those 2 captured screws. So let's figure something that we could put there. Or actually I'll do it after it's mounted, because I have to take this off to put a little finish on this, and I may have to mount the thing to the wall somewhere back here. So let's just leave these screws where they are. We know they're good. Get a finish on this, get it on the wall. We'll mount this on, and then we'll put a stop block up here so it can't accidentally rise up off of these captured screw heads. All right, onward. So I'm using a 2.5-inch round washer head screw, kind of screw you'd use to hang a cabinet. I got exactly 1 stud that I can hit here. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3 screws. We're fine. This is a 1/2-inch backer, so that's more than enough. Super solid. That's in there really good. When figuring out the height of the thing, what I did was I gave myself a little room, so if I ever wanted to, I can store batteries on top of it. So I wanted to leave myself good, clearance underneath to store other things, but enough room on top where I could put 3 or 4 more batteries if I ever got to that point. I found a piece of, looks like 1 inch by 1 inch aluminum angle. And I think if I put a hole in that and get a screw, I think we've got the hole down for this thing. All right, so that took a 3/16 inch hole, and we're going to use a number 6 by 1/2 inch truss head screw, and we're going to get this thing on there. So let's put that there for a second. Get this flat against the wall. Give ourselves a guide hole. See if we can't get that screw in. All right, there we go. We've captured the charger very nicely, and if I do have to take it off, it's 1 screw. It's very easy. All right, let's get this thing loaded up, see how she's going to work.
And the Milwaukee battery station is installed and looking really good. Love it, love it. The charger's up. You can charge 2 batteries at a time. Here's an M18 going in. Here's an M12 going in. The charger is very sturdy because of this little capture bracket I put on there to keep it from coming off of those captured screws. Very secure, one hand, you don't have to be gentle. You can pull batteries out, put batteries in. Just very, very, very happy with the way it came out and the way it takes up minimum space. And as I mentioned earlier during the build, I've even got a feature where if I do come up with additional batteries I didn't anticipate, I do have space up top to store more batteries. I may get some of the larger amp hour M12s at one point. I don't know why, I don't really need them, but you never know. Something may come with a tool or be part of a giveaway. I only buy Milwaukee lately when they're giving me something else with it, so sometimes you wind up with batteries. So that's the install. Hope you like it. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments. You know, if you're interested in giving it a try, go ahead. You know, it's not hard, and it really gets rid of battery clutter. I don't usually make measured drawings for a project like this, something small and functional like this. But I wanted to give you guys some measurements, some final measurements. So putting a little bit at the end here so that you can, you know, screenshot this, zoom in, do what you got to do if you're interested in any of the measurements. So good luck, everybody. Thanks for watching.